This is the biggest Honda you can buy, the Pilot. You're looking at the new one, updated and now in its third generation, to create what Honda says is their smartest and most innovative family sport ute yet. Here's a side-by-side, old beside new, to illustrate how Pilot has changed in response to shifting shopper expectations, and why I heard the same comment over and over again about how now the Pilot looks less like an SUV and more like a minivan.
And it does. This new Pilot ditches the blocky, rugged, and sort of truck-like look of the older models. It's longer, it has bigger overhangs in the front and rear, and it sits a whole inch lower to the ground. All of this takes away from any off-road capability offered up by former Pilot models, but delivers more of what shoppers are after. Better aerodynamics for improved fuel mileage, more interior space, better handling and improved safety, and easier entry and exit for smaller passengers. Put it this way, the new Pilot is more car-like, less truck-like, and that is going to help sell a lot of them.
So will the feature content. Loaded in top touring trim, this tester had it all, including touchscreen nav with full infotainment and media connectivity, climate-controlled leather seats, push-button start, 2 sunroofs, and so second-row passengers can travel in first-class luxury. An overhead entertainment system and rear seat sunshades were included too. This Pilot has 3 rows of seating. You flip the rear seats up when you need them and get in by sliding those second row seats forward with a simple button press. I fit pretty snugly in the rear row, though getting back there isn't actually terribly difficult for an adult. Still, you're best left to leave those very back seats for smaller passengers, or leave them folded down for a great big cargo area, square and wide, and accessed by a motorized tailgate. Here's a sign of the times. Nowadays, chances are everyone on board your Pilot will have at least one electron-chugging mobile device, so Pilot's got plenty of these high-output USB charging ports running a supercharged 2.5 amps to juice your phone or tablet fast. Add in the abundant storage facilities, including multiple door compartments, a hilarious amount of cup holders, and even a deep storage drawer with 2 power outlets, of course, down between the front seats, and there's no trouble staying charged up and organized on the move. Elsewhere, Pilot is now using less crispy plastic and more soft-touch materials and stitching for a more upscale feel to the cabin than ever before, which better matches its price. Ultimately, let's put it this way. Pilot's cabin is big and spacious, but also demonstrates clever and useful little touches throughout. But none of that is what might make the biggest first impression on a test drive.
There are 2 things you notice first and foremost the instant you get on board. The first is the driving position. You're up high, you've got a commanding forward view, the dash is low in front of you. I love that the console is way down here out of the way, and that I can see virtually right to the edge of the hood, which makes the Pilot easier to park. It's a good sense of sitting up high and in control, and that's even with all of this headroom up here around me. And the second is the outward visibility and sight lines. Using high tensile steel means that these pillars are strong but thin, so you see more of what's in front of you. The windows are all tall. That rear window especially is huge. There are blind spots like in any vehicle, but in terms of good outward visibility all around, this really hits the mark.
Under here, Honda's latest 3.5-liter Earth Dreams VTEC V6, now smarter and direct injected for 280 horsepower, is the only engine on offer. If you want more power for your family hauler dollar, you'll need to look at maybe a Durango Hemi or an Explorer with EcoBoost. With the Pilot's new engine, performance is adequate, but nothing much more, which helps keep fuel economy in check. There is a 9-speed automatic, the S9, complete with push-button electronic shift on this tester, and a multi-mode traction management system to actively match the all-wheel drive and powertrain system calibrations to your current driving situation. Running a set of fantastic Blizzak winter tires on these snow-covered trails, the tester never ran out of grip taking off or especially stopping. I'll also mention driving on slippery roads with proper winter rubber, the Pilot feels the way it looks, big, stable, and confident. You get good feedback, and because the steering isn't artificially heavy and allows a good tactile sense for what's happening between the tires and the road, you feel a loss of traction as it happens, and I like that a lot. Other notes, the highway drive is about average in terms of road and wind noise levels. The suspension and long wheelbase turn in a smooth highway ride, though rough roads in town can cause noise and comfort levels to degrade. Pilot's steering, even at highway speeds, feels nicely calibrated against the vehicle's size and suspension tuning. It's not too sporty, not too lazy, but just about right on at all times. There's also a surprisingly tight turning circle and a multi-angle backup camera, so this behemoth is pretty easy to park. Mileage on my watch, including plenty of highway cruising and generous use of the fully automatic all-wheel drive system, landed at 13.5 liters per 100 clicks. In real life, that's about what you'd expect from a great big four-wheel drive the size of a Canadian Tire. To compare for where and how I drive, a Dodge Durango Hemi uses about 1.5 liters per 100 more, and the Nissan Pathfinder uses about 1.5 liters per 100 less. Your results will vary. Complaints: the electronic shifter takes a bit of getting used to until it feels natural to operate, and although I'm far from a styling enthusiast, I did find myself wishing this top-line Pilot had maybe a little more depth and color inside. It's all black and looks a bit gloomy. But let's sum it up. You'll like the handy and clever cabin, the abundant headroom, the abundant sense of space around you, relatively easy to access third-row seats, and numerous handy touches like the storage drawer and high-output charging ports. You'll also appreciate that this Pilot is pretty easy to park. If you're a performance buff, you may wish for some more power and a more responsive transmission. The ride can become choppy and loud on rougher roads thanks to the big 20-inch wheels. And if you're a big fan of striking interior styling from your family hauler, this is not the machine for you. Ultimately, if space, storage, great visibility, and a great driving position are bigger priorities than performance and cabin styling in your next family hauler, this one is a priority test drive. Thanks for watching.